Today I'm going to share with you the 5 top exercises to get a deep backline and also what not to do. Are you ready? Let's get into it. Lifting weights is all about getting strong, building muscle, and getting in the best shape of our lives. But the last thing we want to do is neglect certain areas of our body. It's not just all about glute training. A nice, strong back is also very important. Achieving that really defined look on your back with a deep back line basically comes from doing hip hinge movements and really focusing on compound exercises. So it's no surprise that when you see a girl with really developed glutes, she also tends to have a deep backline. Of course, some of it is genetic, but there's no denying that if you focus on hip hinge movements and really get strong in your compound exercises, you also can develop a nice backline. And by the way, compound movements are just exercises that recruit multiple muscle groups, so you get more bang for your buck. First of all, that deep backline comes from developing the erectors, which is the long, thin muscles that run up your spine. Essentially, they're part of your core, and they really help you stabilize when you are doing your compound movements, which I'm about to go through. Number 1 is the Romanian deadlift, or the RDL. Now, I love this exercise because obviously it's very glute focused, but it also massively recruits your erectors. Anything in this kind of position you'll see, this hip hinge movement where you're leaning forward and your hips are pushed back, is going to target the erectors and give you that deep back line. So any deadlift variation is also great. You could do a conventional deadlift or a stiff leg deadlift. You could do it with a trap bar, you can do it with a barbell, dumbbells, whatever. But I personally prefer the RDL just because I know that I'm really going to be targeting my glutes and my hamstrings too. By the way, if you only ever feel RDLs in your lower back and you don't really feel it in your glutes, it's likely because you have very weak erectors and a very weak core in general. So if this is you and maybe you're a beginner, I would start with rack pulls instead of RDLs, just until you get a feel for the movement and you become more conditioned. It's more beginner friendly because it's set up higher off the ground and you're also starting from a dead stop on the arms, so it's more stable, in a bit more of an upright position, and it just takes the pressure off your lower back. It's less taxing. That means you can focus more on your back muscles, and then when you get stronger you can move on to RDLs as you progress. Next up, we've got hyperextension. This is an amazing exercise generally for your posterior chain, but again, a lot of people say that they only feel this exercise in their lower back, not their glutes. And while this does come down to technique, you can either do a glute focused hyperextension or a more back focused hyperextension. Most of the time it does just come down to weak erectors and a weak core in general. And if you have weak erectors, this exercise will highlight it like no other. And a lot of the times people get very confused and think that the sensation that they're feeling in their lower back while they do hyperextension is a bad thing. They feel like it's pain and that they're doing something wrong. But that's not the case. It's just that this exercise really taxes the erectors and it's just a muscle that really burns for some reason. It's a good thing, so don't freak out. Third exercise is a bent over row, or again, any exercise where you're in that position where you're pushing the hips back and your chest is leaning forward. Now, the working muscle in this exercise that you're targeting is actually your lats, so it's your back muscles, but you also indirectly work the erectors also. Basically, those long erectors that give you that deep backline, they're the muscles that are keeping your whole body, spine, core stable while you're doing the row. And again, just like the hyperextension, if you're weak in your core and your erectors, you're going to feel it in this exercise too. And if you've tried all those previous exercises and you really only feel it in the lower back and you feel like you're doing it wrong, a great place to start is Superman rows. This is exercise number 4. And the great thing about this is that it's body weight. So you don't need any barbells or any equipment. It's just using your body weight, but trust me, it's still very challenging. So with Superman rows, there is far less risk of injury because you're just using your body weight. Like I said, the erectors, which is what we're trying to target to get that deep back line, is part of your core. So we just think, when we say core, we just think about the six-pack abs or, you know, the obliques or the transverse abdominis inside. We don't actually think of the erectors on your back running along your spine as part of your core, but they are, and they're a very important part of your core. I would look at adding Superman rows into your core workouts and maybe doing them every other day, along with leg raises, hollow holds, planks and side planks to really get a good conditioned core. And lastly, just work on your general back strength. So just make sure that you're doing all of your basic foundational exercises like your lat pull downs and your chin-ups or assisted chin-ups, your seated low rows and your dumbbell one arm rows. Overall upper body strength is really going to help you develop not just your core, but also, you know, everything is connected. You don't just work one muscle group in isolation. You want to go for overall strength, and the more conditioned your core is will make your hip hinge movements stronger and more comfortable also, and that will allow you to go heavier in your compound movements and get better results.
Okay, I'm just in the middle of editing this video right now, and I forgot to mention that, of course, I'm showing you the 5 best exercises for getting a deep back line, but that doesn't mean that you just do all of these exercises in one workout. That would be silly. You want to sprinkle these exercises in to a full week's workout plan, so in a really well-developed program to get the best results. If you want me to kind of break that down for you, what a really good program would be to target your posterior chain, glute development, get that deep back line, let me know. Anyway, just wanted to point that out because, yeah, I don't want you guys doing like all those 5 exercises in one go. That would not be a good workout, okay?
So there are your top 5 exercises, but there is one exercise that I see a lot of fitness influencers tell you to do to get that deep back line, and I think it's a mistake. I don't actually think this is a good exercise for anyone to do. I personally don't do them. I think there are much better exercises out there that target the same kind of muscles. This exercise I'm talking about is good mornings. If you're a beginner or if you just have a weak core in general, this exercise is going to put an immense amount of strain on your lower back, and because you're holding the bar on your shoulders, you can injure yourself very easily. Injure your neck, injure your shoulders, and injure your back. And really, if you want to target your erectors and your glutes, then just do RDLs instead. They are a far better option. RDLs have the same benefits, but they're probably going to give you better glute gains because you can actually go for progressive overload and go heavier with better form and therefore get better results. There you go. There's my top 5 exercises for a deep back line, but I just want to leave you on this final note. I know we all want to look good, and there's nothing wrong with that. And if you want a deep back line and if you want big round glutes, it's all good. But don't let a body ideal define your worth. We've all seen this before with trends like how to get rid of your hip dips and you know, the thigh gap. And while I feel like we have collectively moved on from that kind of obsessive wanting to be really skinny and picking our bodies apart, we've kind of moved on to wanting to have the biggest glutes and big 6-pack abs. And while there's, again, nothing wrong with this, it's still putting a lot of focus on aesthetics. With that can come body image issues. Genetics play a massive part in this. If you do these exercises, or you have been doing these exercises, and you're still not looking how you want to look, or maybe you're looking at a fitness influencer who has huge glutes and, you know, very defined back, and it makes you feel less than because you don't look like her, I just want to remind you that you are perfect just the way you are, and that here at Strong Curves, we want to look good and we're working towards being our better selves, but don't let aesthetics get in the way of your self-worth. We train for health first, we train to be strong and to feel confident, and that's what matters most. So just stay in your own lane, don't compare yourself to anyone else, and know that you're perfect just the way you are. Okay, that's enough rambling. Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you very soon in another video. Bye!